Good morning, everybody. This is Lisa B. Welcome back to my channel. I know this is an odd angle. I'm really sorry. I'm gonna close this, see if that's any better. My phone stand is being a bugger this morning, so I got frustrated. I don't want to mess with it, so I'm just gonna do it this way today. And then I will play with it later and see if I can't get a better angle. Darn it. Anyway, well, I'm sorry, but when I do when I listen to WIP N Chats, 99% of the time I'm not looking at the picture anyway. So let's hope that that's your case. If not, I'm sorry. Today I'm working on Home Sweet Home. It was a gift from my secret admirer. I think it's like a 30 by 30, sort of, 40 by 40. It has a lot of 742, which is a lot of this yellow-orange color. So I decided that I'm just going to, do all the yellow-orange. Because it's a small painting and there's no reason to section it off and do that. Okay, what's going on? First of all, let's get this out of the way. I don't know if I have to keep saying this or not, but this is an adult channel. If you are under the age of 18, this is not the channel for you. I speak about adult terms, adult stuff. Let's just put it that way. And I don't want to mess with Cobra. Or whatever it is with the small children thing. Keep trying to adjust. Okay, let's just get to it. Alrighty. So, first of all, yes, I changed my name. And it's not that I don't like diamond painting, because obviously here I am diamond painting. But, I decided that, because I want to do cross stitch and do like floss tube on here and maybe some coloring if I get brave enough, that it would make more sense to do that. So I will always diamond paint. It's not gonna stop. I just thought it was a fun name change. Tell me what you think in the comments. You like it? You don't like it? Go back to diamond painting with Lisa B and just do whatever. What do you think? I think it's cool, but so I'm gonna checkerboard my way across, and I actually wrote stuff down because when I'm sitting in front of the camera, it's not that I'm nervous, except when my husband's here staring at me, but I forget what I wanted to talk about. So I'm old and I actually have to write things down. I'd like to give a special thanks to Lizzie from Lizzie's World of Gems. She gave me a shout out. Aww. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Who else have been watching? Of course, I've been watching Kale. And she was saying she had a black eye. And I was like, oh my gosh. You and I are like two peas in a pod. When we first got to the RV, our German Shepherd Sadie, she sees other dogs and she'll lunge. And so I was out there one day on a Saturday, and an RV pulled up, and an English bulldog jumped out, and she jerked me so hard that I knew it was coming. She lunged. So I'm like, Greg, help me, because it was Saturday and he was home, and he went to grab her leash, and I head-butted him in the cheek, and then I landed on the gravel road on the other side of my head, and I got up and I was like, duh, like I was stunned, like I had a concussion. And I had a mild headache the rest of the day. And I woke up in the morning and I had two black eyes. Now, they weren't black like you would think, like a boxer, but right above my eyelids, it was purple. So I looked like, I had put on some really deep purple eyeshadow. Yeah. So I so when Cal was talking about it, she said her husband Grant's like, "Oh my gosh, don't go out because everybody's gonna think I punched you in the head." I'm like, "Yeah, Greg said the same thing to me, Cal. Don't go out." But yeah, I was laughing, and that's the first time I ever had a. I think that's the first time I've ever had a black eye. I don't think I've ever had a black eye before. But yeah, so I ended up. We went to the Walmart and got her a harness just because she's a big dog. And I told Greg, I said, one of these days, I'm not going to be able to hold on to her leash and she's just going to take off. And lo and behold, not long after that, that's what she did. So we went to the Walmart and I bought her a harness. And it seems to control her better. Not great, but it's more stable. It's actually more for me than her because she is just one big dog. Oh, what else? So, last week, my husband had worked overtime, and so he ended up having a 3-day weekend, which is he had Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. So he was home the entire time, and God bless him, I love him dearly, but on the weekends, it's just not very relaxing. He every time I would try and sit down to watch a video or something, he wanted to chat. And he's more important to me than YouTube. But after this happens, like maybe 15 times, you're like, okay, honey, okay, honey, okay, 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 hon, okay, hon. I love you. Go find something to do, get a hobby. But yeah. So Friday, I went up to the P.O. box. And if you haven't seen it, I got a very nice surprise from my secret pal. And I was totally shocked and I was super sweaty. And she had asked for a reaction video. And unfortunately, a reaction video, you kind of have to be face forward. So yeah, I was hot, I was sweaty. My husband was home. So I didn't get to properly express. And then I was just so excited. I just wanted to open the boxes, and just be like, yeah. So I probably didn't show them off to their glory, but so Friday I started diamond painting this one. I don't mind squares. I can do them. My winter deer is square, but I'm faster and around. So, but it just depends. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm done with squares. I just want to do rounds for a while. So I go back and forth. When I do squares, I checkerboard all the time. And this is a really nice change from the winter deer because the winter deer is just like nothing but confetti. I hope I'm filming. Am I filming? Oh, yay. I've done that before. I watched Tracy's DP and Crafts, and she's like, I was sitting here and talking, only in her British accent, for 15 minutes and the camera wasn't even on. Yeah, honey, I've done that too. It's okay, love. I know. Anyway, what was I saying? So, my winter deer is filled with nothing but confetti, and So this one is really nice, and I will get back to it after I finish this one because now I'm obsessed. And then my brown painting is my brown-eyed girl. And then so this is my square one, and then I'll go back to my square hooligan. I was thinking the Christmas tabby cat, I'll do that this fall because then I can, because I like to do seasonal stuff. Although, who knows? I may break it out sooner than that. So, and I'm glad it's a huge one because it'll take me a long time to complete. And so that'll keep me busy in case, things, what can I say, go down the toilet, so to speak. So that brings me to Saturday. So where we live is 30 miles south of San Antonio, and it's an itty bitty town. And we don't really live here. We're in RVs. We're RVers. So where we're camped, so to speak, is 30 miles from San Antonio. So there's a little HEB, and if you don't know what a HEB is, it's not a little HEB, it's a normal size HEB. If you're not, it's the local Texas grocery store for where I'm at. And I'll talk about HEB later. It's just a grocery store, and the one that's closest to me, they also sell clothes and TVs and stuff, so they call it HEB Plus, but mainly it's a grocery store. Anyway, I digress. So on the weekends, I generally try and go to the grocery store. So I'm thinking, because we live so far away from San Antonio, that, this corona nonsense is not going to hit in this little farming community. So I'm at the HEB and I am in shock, people. I'm in shock. I'm taking pictures and I'm sending them to my husband on Messenger because I'm in shock. I'm like, this is Lidl. Lidl is small. These are farming people. They don't panic. But the shelves there was no milk. There was no milk. There was hardly any chicken. I mean, I went into the frozen veggie section. All they had was green peas. I went to get dried beans. They were almost all gone. There was plenty of beer, which made me laugh. My husband's like, yeah, we're all gonna die. At least we could, buy beer. I went in the potato chip aisle. It was weird, and they were stocking bread as fast as they could, and people were just grabbing it. And Greg had wanted to make grill hamburgers for Saturday night, and I'm like, there's hamburger. It's ground up. There's some packages, but there's no pre-made burgers because he likes to get that. And he's like, just grab whatever hamburger you can. I'm like, okay. And then I went over to the bread aisle to get some hamburger buns, and I'm like, good Lord. And the guy's like putting them on the shelves as fast as he can, and I'm just like, will you just hand me a pack of hamburger buns? I mean, I felt sorry for this guy. And in fact, the manager on the loudspeaker came over and he's like, I'd like to thank everybody for remaining calm and obeying our signage, because some of the signs said like 2 chickens per family and stuff like that. And I'm like, what in the world? Is civilization breaking down? I'm like, are you kidding me? Nothing has happened. It's not that bad. What's going to happen if it gets really bad? I mean, my goodness. So I was pretty surprised. I got almost everything that I wanted, but they didn't have any paper towels. I had bought toilet paper actually the week before at the Dollar Tree and had, just stuck it away, never knowing that this would be like this insane. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? So anyway, hold on a minute. Sadie, leave the kitties alone. They don't want to talk to you. So I got home, and my husband, of course, who is, you don't know this, but he's like a semi, I don't even know how to say it. He gets paranoid. He's all like, always, he has a bug out bag, and if you don't know what that is, Google it. It's a bag with like dried food in it and matches, and in case the world comes to an end. And I always just roll my eyes when he does this stuff. Because there's a bag in the back of his car with dried fruit, dried nuts, and a can of tuna. And I'm like, really, dear? But I'm starting to think he's got a point. I'm like, okay, alrighty then. So then Saturday, or that was Saturday at the HEB. So then Sunday, we went to Walmart, and it was not as bad. They actually had milk there, but only in the half gallons, not in bags, Lizzie. But they had plastic containers of milk, half gallons. So we got one of those, and we bought Sadie the harness. I got it in bright pink. She's so funny. Bright neon pink. She runs across the dog park. She looks like a black and pink. What's that candy? I can't think of them right now, but they're black, pink, and white. Good and Plenty. She looks like a Good and Plenty, or she reminds me of Good and Plenty. And then we went in the craft aisle because I have to check it out. And we were at a different Walmart than we normally go to. This one was 45 miles from San Antonio, south of San Antonio. And it was odd because there was a guy when we left that was checking everything as we walked out. So I need a drink. So I went in the craft aisle, and I have this pattern. It's by a lady named Laura Lagatuda, and she's an Italian designer, and I have had it for ages and ages and ages. And like I said, everything is in storage, and Greg packed it like a Jenga puzzle, so all my brilliant idea of getting into the storage area and getting my stuff and being able to do that has gone out the window. So I bought some Ada cloth, Aida, whatever you want to call it, and they had a limited selection of DMC floss at this Walmart. So I had the list of the DMC floss that I needed because, again, everything is all packed up in storage. Excuse me. And we left, and it was a rainy day, so I thought that I would watch Carolyn and that I would put a few stitches in this picture. Well, I ripped open the bag and I had noticed that it had like a little slit on the side, and I didn't think anything of it, whatever. So I opened up the fabric, the Ada cloth, and it was cut in 4 pieces, and somebody had drawn on it with a pencil and had actually stitched on it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And so I was angry. I'm like, I'm preparing for the zombie apocalypse here, people. I cannot use this Ada fabric. So I was mad. And I showed it to my husband. And he's like, what are you going to do? And are you just going to keep it and get some other, And I'm like, no, I'm going to go back to Walmart right now because I'm angry that, I bought this and it's, somebody had obviously had used it and then refolded it perfectly and stuck it back in the plastic bag so that they could return it so they could get their $3 back. So I was freaking annoyed. And Greg's like, really? You're going to go back just for that? I'm like, yes, I am. This is what I wanted to do today, and I'm on a mission. He's like, okay, fine. Got in the car, drove back to the Walmart, got in line, and I showed it to the lady, and she's like, yeah. No problem. Just go get what you want, and then bring it back, and we'll do a, exchange. So I'm like, I'm not going to buy any more of this. I'm going to get the good Charles Craft that, the DMC Ada and, whatever. Which was fine. It only cost me $1, like 75 more than the one that I had purchased. And there's more Adas, so the piece of Ada fabric is bigger, so. And I unfurled it while I was waiting in line to make sure that, I wouldn't have this problem, so. And then I got out to the car, and I got in the car, and I checked my phone, and sure enough, my husband called me. And he wanted Sudafed, and Sudafed is for nasal allergies. It's spring here, and so if you can hear me sniffing and snorting, I'm on my allergy medicine. Greg likes the Sudafed. I don't like the Sudafed. It number one, it seems to dry me out terribly. And number two, I'll take it on occasion, but it makes me it usually makes me very, very sleepy. And the dose is 2 pills, and even if I just take one, I'm like, ugh. So I don't take that. But he wanted some. So that was the 3rd time I had to go into that Walmart. And the guy who was checking the guy who was checking the receipts on the way out the door is like, oh, it's you again. I'm like, yes. I'm never going to get out of here. Anyway, so for my husband worrying about the coronavirus, he sent me back in the store. But we took a news break this weekend because I get tummy aches. I can't take it. And it's not good. It's not good for you to sit there and watch hour upon hour of news, And then, I just really wanted to have a nice weekend. But the problem is that, my husband, even though he didn't want to watch the news about the coronavirus, he wanted to talk about the coronavirus. So on Sunday afternoon, I normally like to watch Carolyn and Crafts with Cat. What is it? Anyway, I'll link her down below so you know who the heck I'm talking about. So I kept we were talking about scones in the live chat, and my husband kept coming in and wanting to talk about, maybe we should buy a bass boat. Maybe we should move the trailer, further out. maybe, what do you think about this? And I'm just like, I love you, dear. I love you. But I really just want to sit here and talk about diamond painting, cross stitch, and talk about scone recipes. He just wouldn't let me. I'm like, Cal, I gotta go, honey. I'm sorry. I can't take it anymore because as much as I love y'all, and I do, um, real life comes first. Husband comes first. Dogs that have to go to the bathroom come first. Phone calls from children come first. Yeah. And have a balance. Reality, the real people that are physically in front of me are unfortunately, are more important than, what's going on YouTube, and I'm really sorry. I love you, Cal, I do. I'm gonna start a new clip because I need a drink and my phone doesn't do well if it's past a certain amount of time. So I'll be back. And we're back. Had a muffin, had some more coffee, emptied the drains. Yes. If you live in an RV or a caravan, you have tanks under you, which hold water from the sink, water from the shower, and the poop water. I call it the poop water. Technically, it's called black water. So they need to be emptied. So I got that done. So, yeah, okay. Where was I at? All right. So what was I going to tell you? Oh, so Friday night, after I had ripped open my Diamond Art Club, like I said, I was obsessed. And I decided that I was going to diamond paint till I fell asleep. Well, I ended up staying up till 3 a.m., like a little child at a slumber party. And let me just tell you, that is not a good idea for me anymore. Yeah. I was telling Jennifer Roberts, I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I was so miserable the next day. And then, of course, I'm friggin' exhausted. So, my eyes were burning and I couldn't take it. So I had to take a nap. Well, then now my sleep schedule's messed up because now I don't want to go to bed at my normal time, which is between like 10:30 and 11. Sometimes more like 11:30, but somewhere in that general area is when I go to bed. But so yeah, I really messed myself up. So no more crazy all night DP-a-thons for me. I was in misery the next day. Misery. That's probably part of the reason why when I was at the HEB, I was like shocked out of my gourd. But what are you doing? You're supposed to be checkerboarding. Stop that. Anyway, so I was going to tell you about the Saturday before, and something really sad had happened. When we were in the process of moving, I'll back up. When Greg and I first got married, I know we talked about this, we kept an entire litter of kitties. And there was 3 black cats, Penny, Nigel, and Hershey. So my crochet whatever channel or whatever you want to call it I call myself when I crochet, is 3 black cats crochet. Penny passed away maybe 4 years ago. Her immune system was shot. I took her back and forth to the vet. She was ripping her hair out. She was in misery. I just I don't know. She passed away. So that was heartbreaking. And then when we were moving, we noticed Nigel seemed to be acting funny. And he had medium hair. He's a medium haired cat. So I assumed that he was, constipated because he acted like he could not take a poo. And so we bought some medicine, powdered, for his tummy. And so I mixed up a small dosage and I gave him some, and he seemed to get better. So we moved and everything was fine. And Greg said to me, "Look at Nigel." And I said, "Yeah, he's acting kind of weird." And he was meowing a lot. And if you watch my other WIP N chats, he was like meow, meow through the whole thing. And I'm just like, "Nigel, what the heck? What is wrong with you? Quit." And so I was watching one day when I was changing the kitty boxes, and he was standing there in the kitty box and nothing was coming out. And he seemed to be pushing, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, he's constipated again." So that's what I assumed. So I gave him the medicine again, like I had done before. Oops. And he didn't seem to get better. And when I rubbed his tummy, he was it was hard as a rock. And I'm thinking, okay, he's filled up with backed up kitty poo and hair. So I gave him a little more, and he just was not getting better. And he started just laying around, and I never noticed him taking a poo. Not that I watched cats poo, but I was keeping my eye on him to see if he would poo. So, and he just seemed miserable. So Greg's like, this was on a Sunday, and Greg's like, maybe not. It was Tuesday. And he said to me, "I think we should take Nigel to the vet." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Obviously, he's all blacked up, and I'm like, "Okay." So I called the vet's office, and I'm like, "Yeah, I need to bring my cat in. He's constipated. He's got a big old hairball in his gut, and he can't pass it." And they're like, "Okay, bring him in." So we get there. I put him in his kennel, in the cat kennel, and he's all meow, meow. He's very unhappy all the way to the vet's office. Just, And I'm like, "All right, it'll be fine." And what they do, if you really want to know, is basically the vet will lube up his finger, put it in the cat, and pull it out. So that's what I was assuming was going to happen. So we got in the vet's office, got him on the exam table. He's all meow. And the lady said to me, "He's in a lot of pain." And I said, "Well, I'm sure he is. He's constipated. He can't go to the bathroom. He's miserable." She's like, "No, really, he's in a lot of pain." I'm like, "I see that. You trying to make me feel stupid? I know he's in pain." And I had not slept well the night before, because I was keeping my eye on him. And so I was a little short-tempered. And she was making me feel dumb, like I didn't realize my cat was in pain. I'm like, I know he's in pain. I know he is. I know. Me and healthcare people do not get along, and I don't know why. And, because, anyway, let's not go there. So the vet comes in and he goes, "What's up? What's going on with Nigel?" And I said, he's constipated. I gave him some laxative. It's been going on since the beginning of February. He got better, and now he's got it again." And he's like, "Okay," and he felt his gut, and he goes, "Yeah, he's all constipated." And so then he stops, pulls up Nigel's tail, and he's like, "This cat is not constipated." And I said, "What do you mean he's not constipated?" He goes, "He can't pee." And I said, "What?" So yeah, I'm a rotten pet parent. Here's what happened. My poor cat, I feel terrible. My poor cat was not constipated. He couldn't pee. He had a blockage in his urinary tube. For some reason, male cats are prone to it. If they get too much, there's a certain mineral in cat food. And it's in cheap cat food, so like store brands or cheaper cat food. I can't remember what it is, but I'll put it down in the comments. Not the comments, but the discussion information thing. He had whatever had this is, it's not calcium. I can't think of what it is, but it had blocked up. He had a urinary tract blockage. So all this time, the poor cat has not been able to go potty, and his bladder is like huge, and he's in pain. So the vet said to me, "You need to take him immediately to the emergency hospital. They're going to do an IV and they'll cath him. And then, there's hope that he'll make it through. Otherwise, you'll find out in 72 hours that, he'll either live or die." And I'm like, oh, no, no, no. Oh, no. And he's like, "I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take him in the back and I'll see if I can't get him to go to the bathroom. And if he goes, it'll be a really good thing." He goes, "But normally, Lisa, it just, it doesn't work for me, and you're going to have to take him to the vet hospital." So I'm standing there waiting and waiting and waiting. And I hear the cat in the back, And I'm upset because all I can think of is, holy smokes, they're going to have to, first of all, they're going to have to keep him for 3-4 days. They're going to constantly monitor him. They're going to give him an IV. They're going to catheterize him. They're going to, sedate him and do all these things. And I'm like, we can't afford that. I don't have pet insurance. We barely can afford insurance for ourselves, let alone our cat. I'm like, oh my God. So, I'm really upset. And so the vet comes out and he goes, "I have some good news for you. It actually worked. I got him to urinate." And I said, "Oh, thank God," because I'm thinking, oh, good. He made the blockage go. He's like, "I still recommend taking him to the vet hospital. He's sick. In 72 hours, he'll either pull through or pass away." And I'm just like, jeez. Oh, Pete. Okay. So I get in the car and I don't know what to do because Greg's at work and I don't want to make any rash decisions, and rush him over to the pet hospital where they're going to charge us like $5,000 for 3 night stay plus all the medicine plus. So I take the cat and he's quiet all the way home, which is not normal. They had placed like a puppy pee pad in the bottom of his kennel. And when I got him home and I got him out of there, the puppy pee pad was soaked. And I'm like, good job, Nigel. You went potty. I'm so happy for you. And he, he's like, he's like, seemed more content. So I changed his bedding and I left him in his kennel so that the dog and the other cats wouldn't bother him, because the other cats would walk by him, and because he wasn't going to the bathroom properly, he smelled really bad, and so they would hiss at him and stuff, and I'm like, leave your brother alone, he's sick. And the dog wanted to lick the cat constantly, and she would whine. And anyway, so that night he got up and he was staggering around and he made it into the cat room and he got in a cat box and he just kind of sat there, and we thought, okay, this is a good sign, he's trying to go potty. But that was the last of it. He never really got up again. And I had like a tablespoon, a measuring spoon of water, and a couple times a day I would try and get him to drink water, and he would just pee all over the place. And I kept changing bedding, and then he started vomiting. And he just, he lapsed into a coma and he passed away. And Greg and I buried him next to his mother and his sister. And I just bawled. I bawled and I bawled and I cried and cried. I just, I felt terrible. Greg speculated maybe the vet pushed on his bladder too much and burst his bladder. I don't know. I felt bad, because the direct correlation between this disease and cats is cheap cat food. So he was 7 years old, almost 8, and for 7.5 years he had been eating, whatever we bought, 9 Lives, Friskies. And the vet was like, that's really hard on male cats. Male cats, their urinary tract is just complicated. It's different with the females. Theirs is more straightforward than a male cat's. And I felt terrible, He was my cat. He was born on my bed in my apartment when Greg and I first got married, and we were brokenhearted. And I felt like awful. And would have made a difference if we took him to the pet hospital? Probably. But you can only do what you can do, and you can only do what you can afford. And it's left a empty spot in my heart. And he was a sweet cat. He was a naughty cat. He chewed through several of my cords on my light pad. And we guys used to laugh and say it was anorexic bulimia, because he get in there and eat as much cat food as he possibly could and then barf some back up. He did that since he was a kitten. I said something to the vet about that, and the vet's like, he just wanted all the cat food to himself, so that's why he would eat till he was sick. I don't know. Yeah. So I emailed my friend Tracy because she has a black cat. And I told her, and because a lot of people are like, oh, cats, they're a dime a dozen. But, you know, to a person who likes cats, who loves cats, who loves black cats, it was a tragedy in our life, you know. Anyway, so we just ended up going and buying the expensive cat food because we have Hershey and we have Buck and we have Pete and we have Punky, and those cats are males. And I can't, you know, I can't go through that again. That was awful. Watching poor Nigel pass away like that, it was awful. It was really, really awful. And then the thought of, it's the cheap cat food. You're trying to save, $8. So yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring you down. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. I'll get around to my other stuff on my list that I wanted to talk about later. So, I hope y'all have a very good day. Thank you so much for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.